Welcome, everyone. This is Andrew Dailey of MGI, and welcome to our session, Unified Communications and Managed Services Billing for Growth. I'm joined by Partick Elliot, who's Vice President at Revio, and we are extremely interested in his views on the market. So welcome, Partick.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for your welcome, and thanks for the opportunity today.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. For those of us who maybe don't know Revio, give us a sense of your business, kind of scope and scale, where you guys are today.
Yeah, sure thing, Andrew. Let me talk for a couple minutes about our product, and then I can step into a larger sense of the company itself and where we are today. So Revio is a cloud-based, SaaS-based billing, customer management, and payments software platform. We serve clients in a variety of areas that we collectively refer to as the advanced communications industry. And that really includes the wide umbrella of telecom, everything from VoIP to CLEX to UCaaS, CCaaS, everything in between. It includes managed service providers, and it includes IoT solutions providers, things like MVNOs, et cetera. Fundamentally, we see ourselves as a billing as a service provider to companies in these areas, particularly the ones that have complex recurring revenue or consumption-based business models. Our software deploys sophisticated billing at its center, with the key advantage being our high velocity usage rating, which really separates our system from a lot of the other broad-based subscription billing systems that are in the market today. And we combine this core capability, billing and usage rating, with a robust reporting and business intelligence engine, which includes over 100 built-in reports, as well as very robust custom report building capabilities. We've streamlined integrations with tax databases such as Avalara's Avatax and Wolters Kluwer's SureTax to ensure that the very complicated telecom taxation regimes are calculated correctly. We've automated bill creation and distribution to end customers. We have automated collections to speed cash and reduce AR. And finally, we have integration with payment processing native to our system that unifies everything together in a full quote-to-cash environment. Now, looking at our business, we have over 18 years of experience in the market, having been founded in 2002 in Pensacola, Florida. Our first client there was a small regional telecom provider in North Florida. And today we have over 150 clients direct, plus hundreds of indirect clients that we're able to serve through our bill on behalf relationships with resellers. We are a 7-time Inc. 5000 winner. We're a 3-time Great Places to Work winner, and we've won a myriad of other awards from various communications and SaaS industry groups. I'll say one other thing about our company. In 2020, which was, for reasons that we don't need to get into, obviously an extremely challenging period, economically, socially. But through that period, we grew our team headcount by 20%, actually. We maintained a very solid recurring revenue growth rate while also onboarding over 24 new clients, mostly while remote. And in September, we announced a significant growth equity investment from Primus Capital. Primus is a leading private equity investor in technology and software companies, and their investment is really going to allow us to accelerate a lot of initiatives in technology, product development, and marketplace expansion that we've set out.
Terrific. We'll come back to the Primus Capital topic in a bit, but I first want to dive in. From a billing and monetization perspective, the unified communications or advanced communications industry, as you describe it, is full of complexity. You've got multi-tiered channel relationships. Often you're selling a mix of hardware, software, professional services. And it's an industry that's undergone an enormous amount of change just in the last 3 years. So there are quite a few monetization suppliers who really view this as a tough market and don't want to compete in it, or are trying to get out of it and move to easier marketplaces. And yet Revio is really leaning into it right now. Why is that? What makes this a uniquely attractive market for you guys?
Yeah, well, you are right. This is indeed a very challenging or a complex, I should say, kind of an industry, but we are 100% dedicated to this space. We're intently focused on our clients in the market, and there are a few reasons why that is the case. Firstly, just fundamentally, I talked about our company history. We are one of the most experienced billing software providers serving advanced communications with 18 and going on 19 years of experience. So with a lot of deep telecom experience, we've built up a lot of expertise among both our leadership and our technical staff. We understand what our clients want and need. We've been with many of them for a lot of years, through various market cycles and through various waves of change of technology, I would say. So that experience has built expertise that we think puts us in a good position to continue to serve the market, acknowledging that, maybe if we hadn't been so deeply invested in it in years past and we're trying to get into it kind of from scratch, we understand that would be a very challenging kind of barrier to climb for a lot of companies. The second reason that we remain so invested is because we've set up within our system just such a strong usage rating engine, and that's a key factor, or a key factor that does drive complexity in telecommunications is usage calculations and how those flow through to billing and ultimately monetization. It's indeed very hard to build something like that from the ground up, which is why we think many subscription billing companies that are more broadly focused are not jumping into this part of the marketplace. But incidentally, we also think it's why a lot of companies that offer telecom services need to be looking at a platform like ours in order to accurately blend the usage rating, the taxation, and the other factors that I mentioned before. A third reason, honestly, is we see a tremendous amount of opportunity right now for really well-run, scaling businesses to thrive in the industry. And there's a particularly unique opportunity right now because of the convergence of traditional telecom with managed services. In some of the previous eras we've operated in, these were pretty distinct kind of companies. You didn't necessarily jump over one side of the fence to the other. But now you see telecom providers expanding their service offerings. You see MSPs getting into telecom so that they can drive more of that all-important recurring revenue and creating more customer retention. However, we do see that a lot of MSPs that are expanding into more of the telecom services see the complexity pretty early on. And again, that's where a system like Rev.io can help them as they have to think about things like complex taxation, usage rating calculations, et cetera. So bottom line, for all those factors, we're very excited about this industry. We think it's got a great future ahead of it, and we're proud to continue to serve it.
So you mentioned usage rating. That's certainly one of the core themes of the Monetize Forum is different perspectives on usage models. As you look into 2021 and into 2022 even, how do you see kind of the requirements landscape changing or evolving in your market?
So a couple of things come to mind on that question. Firstly, I just said it a moment ago, but I think the continued consolidation of telecom and managed services is going to continue to make or affect requirements in terms of what clients are looking for. So, we think about things like how can we bring a true or a single source of truth to these clients. We got to create well integrated systems across different software packages that are widely used, so that clients can best manage the full quote to cash process, to avoid revenue leakage, increase efficiency, make themselves indispensable to their end customers. In many ways, as these customers ask for more services from a smaller number of vendors. So consolidation and that single source of truth, I think, is number one. Secondly, you can't get through a session like this nowadays without talking about the pandemic and economic effects of it. So our belief on this is that there is a lot of sustainability in this remote work trend that I think to some degree is going to persist even as more workers do come back to the office. And we've seen a lot of our providers in telecom and managed services really benefit to some degree this year because of the accelerated demand for remote connectivity services to keep, their end customers going. I'm not going to try to handicap what the end game of this is going to be. I don't think that, I'm the right person to ask, or this is necessarily the forum for that. But, we believe that it's going to be the best of both worlds, and a hybrid model is what companies are going to go for. When we talk with peer firms, our clients, other people that we think have the right operating model in mind, it's like they want to go back to the office to some degree because of building cohesion and culture with their teams. But at the same time, they've seen a lot of the positive effects of the upside of remote work. So if you think about it as a hybrid model where you can leverage team unity, but at the same time, some of the cost savings and efficiencies, that's going to continue to drive a pretty healthy demand for remote connectivity, which we think ultimately benefits the industry significantly. And then thirdly, this is one that's maybe not quite right in the crosshairs of what people are thinking about day to day, but we think that there's going to be an increased demand for real solid data analytics and ultimately better business intelligence from executive leaders, basically firms that are able to best distill and analyze data that ultimately can help businesses make better decisions. It's data monetization. We think that's something that is in the not too distant future going to be a pretty important factor from a changing requirements standpoint. So, that's maybe the one thing versus the other two, the convergence of telecom and managed services, and then the remote workplace that people are thinking about a lot. This third thing is something that maybe is a little bit further down the line, but it's definitely something that's on our minds as well.
There's certainly a natural affinity between billing and payments, and yet very few billing companies have successfully entered the payment space, and conversely, very few of the payments companies have done well in the billing space. What do you see? You guys have put the two together successfully. What do you see as the customer benefit of embedding payments in your solution?
Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out, Andrew. And yeah, there's definitely been mixed success despite the natural affinity. Since we launched Rev.io Payments in 2018, and as far as we can tell, by the way, we're the only provider in our specific part of the space serving advanced communications that has this native merchant processing integrated within our system. We really, from a client perspective, think there are three key benefits of this. Number one, having the two together creates a single source of truth for your financial and your back office systems. You can have a single place to view customer information, billing cycle data, and payments information for specific customers, as well as just the ability to confirm all the data. Number two, it creates a lot of transparency for clients into the cost of their payment processing, which in many cases or from many third-party systems are a little bit more opaque with more hidden fees. We don't have that really within Rev.io Payments. And number three, it supports speed in processing payments. Obviously, that's a critical part of the overall quote to cash continuum, but that speed is probably the third one. We do admit it's complex operationally, but marrying the two together just made sense, and we think creates or gives us the ability to create a lot more value for our clients overall.
Certainly people want more speed and transparency. Mm-hmm. Builds trust. Let's shift gears a little bit. Every billing vendor worth their salt claims to have an implementation methodology. Rev.io is no exception to that. It's a critical piece when we look at the success of projects. Often it's independent of a particular product or its capabilities, and it really comes down to how successful is an organization in bringing that product in and successfully migrating from a legacy system and standing up the new one. Mm-hmm. What do you guys do differently from a methodology, from a process, from a tooling point of view that you think differentiates your implementation capability versus others?
Yeah, great question, Andrew. Definitely a few things come to mind when it comes to process, team, and training. Firstly, we do have a deliberate process for onboarding our new clients onto Rev.io with really set timelines in what we call our Rev.io Go program. So this phase starts with a kickoff. It moves through phases for requirements gathering, setting up product catalogs in the system, configurations, CDR development, tax database setups, usage testing and comparative bill runs, and ultimately continuous support to the first bill out. All this is defined in a project charter that is established at the beginning of every onboarding project with a new client. Secondly, we have a team that is built and organized to support these projects. These projects kick off with a dedicated project manager really playing quarterback from a Rev.io perspective and managing with the client the process through hitting timelines against the project charter. We also have dedicated data migration engineers that we assign to projects. They're trained in SQL, and these are the men and women that scope out and execute on complex data mapping, reconciliation, and ultimately the migration into our system. And we also support onboarding with our solutions analysts who are experts on our product that help optimize configurations for client needs. And we also dedicate development resources within onboarding. We've got a team that works solely on onboarding projects and helps foster through the needs to meet client technical requirements within onboarding. And then I mentioned testing. At several places within or several steps, I should say, within our project plan, we will test and check for issues such as configuration flaws, system connection issues. We will also run bill comparisons and look for any inconsistencies between the legacy system and Rev.io, so that when we're actually running the bills, we're not creating inaccuracies, driving issues for clients and for the end customer. And then we have training. We have hands-on training through what we call our Rev.io Academy program. That's when new client users run through an intensive, about day and a half training to get up to speed on our key system functionality. That combines with an extensive knowledge base within, that can be accessed right from the home screen of our system. We have videos that reinforce the usage of and best practices with our system. And we really have the aim overall from the academy to the continuous training to really get users equipped to use our system optimally, specifically when onboarding transitions clients to support by our client success department. So bottom line is this: we've done this a lot for a long time. We understand what works. We've organized our onboarding to comprehensively model and execute projects. And we really remain committed to best practices here to make sure that our clients are set up for maximum success when they go live.
We're almost out of time here, but I want to squeeze in very quickly two last questions. One is, as you mentioned, in the midst of the pandemic last year, Rev.io raised a large round of growth capital from Primus. How does that change your growth trajectory? And ostensibly, they asked you guys how you're going to put this money to work, and you've got a good answer for that. What, in 60 seconds or less, where's that money going to go?
Well, I think what's funny, people ask this question, well, how'd you end up raising money in the midst of a pandemic? But I think it's important to point out the really long-term view that Primus takes in their investments, as well as the really deep due diligence that was part of their evaluation of us. Basically, the equity stake within Rev.io from Primus Capital is going to help us achieve long-term goals, I think, in 3 different ways. First, it's going to help us really build our technology capabilities at scale, and that's leveraging both investment and expertise to make sure our platform stays on the cutting edge with best performance, as well as making sure that we have the best technology team possible in place, both at leadership levels and then in the functional areas within engineering and product development. Secondly, we're going to leverage the strategic expertise from the Primus team. They've built dozens, that expertise has been built over dozens of successful SaaS investments over a 35-year history. We talk a lot about the communications industry that we serve, but we fundamentally are a SaaS company. So being able to benchmark ourselves against a lot of these great portfolio companies and the broader industry of SaaS providers, we're going to look at ways to absolutely run best practices, measure ourselves, what are the best ways we can hit our growth targets, but also, most importantly, serve our clients best while achieving scalability in our operating models. And then this will also give us support, thirdly, to really expand our addressable market. We have long-term plans to, really grow within our core set of what we offer from a billing software perspective. But we really want to look to expand offerings and capabilities to our current clients, our current prospect base, if you will, but also really a wider market opportunity that is out there to really carve out a unique position amongst our peer group of billing software companies. So we're very excited to get the chance to partner with Primus Capital. They've been tremendous since we started working with them directly a couple of months back, and we're really looking forward to what they can help us with in the years to come.
Terrific. So one last question, 60 seconds or less. What's one thing every CEO or CFO should know about Rev.io, but they don't?
Yeah, CEOs and CFOs will ask us, hey, what's the right time for a communications company like mine to bring on Rev.io? We would say, if you can say that your billing and your back office has become an inhibitor to efficient revenue growth rather than an enabler of efficient revenue growth, it might be time to bring on Rev.io. And I'm very deliberate in those words because the mission of our company is to help clients grow revenue efficiently. That means, how do I meet my growth goals while also managing the increased costs and overhead that go with that fast growth? And over 18 years of in business, we've helped many executives and their companies achieve goals while overcoming a lot of the core business issues that, while there have been a lot of those technology waves and market cycles, the core issues stay the same. How do I enter new markets and launch new products efficiently? Well, we've helped numerous clients reach recurring annual revenue growth rates of 30+% in the years since they brought on Rev.io. How do we operationalize M&A that we've brought in? Clients like Call Tower that we have, where they made two acquisitions in 2 years. We're able to seamlessly, within a short period of time, integrate those billing profiles into the Rev.io instance and allow them to keep plugging along with the growth that they had seen with us before. How do I get more efficient in my staff time? Put my staff on good strategic projects rather than routinized manual tasks. We've done that with a lot of clients. Spectratel comes to mind. They're one of our largest clients. They saved $1 million in OpEx the first year they were on Rev.io. And they've been able to maintain a very slim staff using the system and managing the system well, despite the fact that they've grown their revenue 3x over 7 years on the system. And then things like creating digital transformation. You're going to hear as part of this Monetize Forum, Atlantic, one of our best clients. They have a integration with Rev.io to a Power BI dashboard and have been able to get much more effective in terms of using data to run their business. Just 6 months with this dashboard in place, they were able to reduce their churn by a full 0.5 percentage point, which is a lot in a short period of time. So all these different ways to use our system to really overcome those issues that get back to that core question: is billing and my back office an inhibitor to my growth? A system like Rev.io can make it an enabler again. And that's probably the one thing I'd want audience to know about if they're thinking through that question for themselves.
Terrific. Patrick, thanks very much for joining us. And I know there's more information available at the Rev.io booth. You're going to be around for the networking. I'd encourage everyone to reach out. And thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining us. And this concludes our session. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, everyone.